In this video, we'll explore the wisdom of Buddhist teachings and how they can support us in finding inner peace and resilience as we navigate the ups and downs of life. Regardless of one's religious convictions, Buddhism offers timeless lessons that are applicable to our contemporary life. These tenets act as beacons of guidance, illuminating the path ahead as we confront inescapable obstacles and unpredictabilities. We can develop an inner sense of strength and tranquility that will serve us well in the face of hardship if we comprehend and adopt these ideas. So let's investigate these fundamental concepts and see how they can change the way we view life. We'll start by discussing the principle of impermanence, which is also referred to as anicca in Buddhism. This idea reminds us that everything in life is temporary and subject to constant change. Similar to how a flower blossoms, showcasing its beauty and then ultimately withers away, life also possesses this impermanent pattern. It is simpler to let go of our attachments to how we believe things should be when we have a profound understanding of this. We come to embrace life as it unfolds, realizing that all experiences, no matter how happy or difficult, are fleeting. A flower serves as the ideal example to demonstrate this. When we look at a flower, we see its development from bud to blossom and finally to decay. The stages of our own lives and the environment we dwell in are reflected in this cycle. We can let go of attachment and find serenity in the ups and downs of life by accepting impermanence. No. 2. We then examine the non-attachment principle, or aparigraha in Buddhism. This principle places emphasis on the idea of letting go of things, material or emotional, that one is attached to. When we have an attachment to anything, we frequently inflict ourselves pain out of a fear of losing it or being cut off from it. Being non-attached teaches us to enjoy and value things without depending on them to make us happy. We can practice non-attachment in our daily life by understanding that material belongings are transient and do not determine our value. This idea may also be used to partnerships, where we can cultivate love and connection without requiring people to meet every need we have. The well-known fable of the monk and the priceless jewel serves as an example of this idea. In this tale, a wealthy patron gave a priceless stone to a monk. At first, the monk treasured the stone, holding it near and appreciating its beauty. But as he went, he became aware of the weight it posed. He was anxious and upset because he thought he would misplace it or have it stolen. In the end, he made the decision to release himself from the burden of attachment by burying the gem beneath a tree. This tale serves as a reminder that real freedom stems from letting go of all attachments, including those to material possessions and abstract aspirations. We may completely experience life when we are free from the bonds of fear and clinging. Let's now examine the mindfulness principle, or sati as it is known in Buddhism. Being mindful involves paying attention to our thoughts, feelings, and environment while letting go of judgment and living in the present now. It's similar to gently bringing awareness to both the outside world and our inner sensations. Being aware is said to be crucial to realizing the true nature of things and releasing oneself from suffering in Buddhist practice. It enables us to notice our feelings and thoughts without becoming consumed by them, which promotes inner serenity and clarity. There are easy habits we can adopt to foster awareness in our daily lives. One such technique is walking meditation, in which we pay attention to each step we take. This is taking our time and walking mindfully while observing how our feet feel on the earth. With every step, we release distractions and return our focus to the here and now. By bringing us into awareness of our surroundings and our bodies, walking meditation helps us stay rooted in the present moment. Consider taking your time and feeling the ground beneath your feet as you move. Take note of your body's movements and the way your weight shifts from one foot to the other. You feel the air filling your lungs and the sensation of movement with every breath. Walking meditation is a very effective technique for bringing our attention back to the here and now and letting go of concerns about the past or the future. It reminds us that every instant, no matter how small, is a chance to be fully present and conscious. Among life's chaos, mindfulness allows us to discover calm and clarity. Let us now explore the principle of compassion, which in Buddhism is referred to as karuna. The core of Buddhist teachings is compassion, which is the will to lessen other people's suffering. It is the profound comprehension of another person's suffering and the sincere desire to assist. It beyond feeling sorrow or pity. By being compassionate, we see the interdependence of all beings and open our hearts to the world around us. This idea tells us that when we lessen the pain of others, we also lessen our own compassion practice, serves as a buffer against detrimental effects on our well-being. Rather than reacting with rage or irritation, when we approach circumstances with compassion, we reply with kindness and understanding. This has a beneficial knock-on impact that improves not only our immediate surroundings but also our own life. Healthy relationships and a more tranquil inner state result from practicing empathy, patience, and forgiveness, all of which are facilitated by compassion. The moving tale of the Bodhisattva and the suffering people is one that demonstrates the power of compassion. In this tale, a community beset by disease and starvation is encountered by a bodhisattva, a creature devoted to achieving enlightenment for the good of humanity. The bodhisattva decides to stay and aid the villagers even though he has the means to leave their suffering. Hope is restored, and the villagers' circumstances improve as a result of deeds of love and compassion. This tale serves as a reminder that compassion is a transforming force that has the power to raise entire communities, not just a passive emotion. Imagine the bodhisattva with compassionate eyes seeing the afflicted villagers. Rather than averting their gaze or pursuing self-interest, the bodhisattva offers consolation and assistance. This story shows us that compassion involves acting to change the world as well as just having empathy for other people. In addition to improving the lives of others around us, developing compassion in our lives also gives us a greater sense of fulfillment and purpose in life. Let's now examine the acceptance principle, or upekkha as it is known in Buddhism. Recognizing and accepting the current moment for what it is, without seeking to alter it or wishing it were otherwise, is the essence of acceptance. Acceptance in Buddhist philosophy is a sensible acknowledgement of the transient and unpredictable character of life, not of passivity or surrender. We release ourselves from needless suffering brought on by resistance and the fight against reality when we accept things as they are. Finding inner peace can be achieved by practicing acceptance of situations that are out of our control. Using the metaphor of surfing the waves of life without resistance is one method to do this. We may learn to handle life's ups and downs with ease and grace, just like a surfer who rides the ocean's waves. We wear ourselves out when we fight against what is occurring, much like when we try to swim against a strong tide. Embracing change enables us to move with the flow of life, making necessary adjustments. As a wave approaches, picture yourself as a surfer standing on your board. You let go of your need to control the direction or brace against the wave and instead settle into the rhythm of the sea. Sensing the rise and fall under you, you ride the wave with skill and awareness. Being totally present in the here and now and accepting whatever comes our way is acceptance in action. We can achieve a profound sense of inner calm and learn to let go of the longing for things to be different by practicing acceptance. Accepting ourselves completely, with all of our flaws and defects, is another aspect of acceptance. It's about realizing that we are all human and worthy of compassion, and practicing kindness toward ourselves and others. We create space for ourselves to grow and explore new possibilities when we approach life with acceptance. In order to ride the waves of life with an open heart and mind, let's embrace the principle of acceptance. Finally, let us examine the principle of non-identification, which in Buddhism is referred to as anatta or not self. This principle casts doubt on the notion of an immutable, fixed self or ego. It teaches us that the self is a collection of constantly shifting ideas, feelings, and perceptions rather than a static entity. We cause misery when we identify too deeply with this false self, tying our identity and happiness to transient objects. The invitation to view the self without being engrossed in its narratives and dramas comes from non-identification, freedom from outside influences, results from realizing the illusion of the self since we are no longer dependent on circumstances or outside approval to determine who we are. Rather, we see that the ego's confines do not encompass our actual character. This knowledge enables us to let go of the urge to own or be in control of things in order to feel safe. We learn to be less sensitive to life's ups and downs and instead discover stability within ourselves as opposed to transient external circumstances. The narrative of the empty boat is a potent example of how non-identification is conceptualized. A person in this narrative notices an empty boat floating down a river. At first, they get upset, thinking their boat has been taken. But as they look more closely, they see that the boat is truly theirs. It's just floating around untied. This insight offers comfort and tranquility. The moral of the story is that similar to the empty boat, the self is frequently devoid of a constant, unchanging nature. We are freed from needless pain when we no longer identify so closely with the boat of our ego. Put yourself in the shoes of the person who notices the empty boat. You may initially experience uncertainty and rage, thinking that something important has been taken from you. But as you look into it more, you find that the boat was merely drifting, empty and unattached, and it was never truly yours to begin with. There is a sense of lightness and freedom after realizing this. In a similar vein, we liberate ourselves from the bonds of identification and other influences when we realize that the self is not a fixed, unchanging object. Through the adoption of the principle of non-identification, we can foster a more profound comprehension of both the self and the external environment. We become more aware of the immensity of our actual nature as we learn to let go of the delusion of a fixed self. We experience a deep sense of release and tranquility as a result of no longer looking to outside sources for approval or safety. Rather, we discover security and fulfillment in the constantly shifting course of existence. These values are actions we should take in our daily lives, not merely ideas to consider. I invite you to go deeper into these ideas via study, meditation, or basic mindfulness exercises. Every day, set aside some time to consider impermanence, engage in tiny acts of non-attachment, develop awareness in your actions, show compassion to both yourself and others, accept acceptance of the situation as it is, and investigate your true nature. By putting these ideas into practice, we can live a life in which our inner contentment and serenity are less affected by outside events. We learn to ride the waves of life with elegance and ease, much like expert surfers, rather than being thrown around by them. These ideas provide us with a way to face life's obstacles with fortitude, discernment, and a profound sense of inner serenity. I hope these lessons help you on your path to a life that is more content and serene. I appreciate you coming along to explore the timeless ideas and wisdom of Buddhism.